Right, what is up YouTube? Hope you're all good, whatever time of the day you're watching this video. But I thought I'd go on here and sort of talk through my whole transformation from before I started the gym to roughly where I'm at right now. Because I've been training for about 5 years and there's been ups and downs. I mean, I've always been consistent throughout, but there's been like dirty bulks, there's been cuts, there's been like bodybuilding preps. There's been a lot of different phases throughout this. So there's been lockdowns. So yeah, I'll talk through the full thing. I've got my camera roll up here and I will put the pictures that I'm looking at on the screen so you can see them at the same time as I talk through them. But yeah, hope you somewhat enjoy this. So starting out here, we've got a picture of me before I started the gym. I think it was holiday at this point, and I was literally just stick thin. There's literally not an ounce of muscle on my body here. So yeah, that is the first one. Next pic we've got here is same holiday. You can literally see, I think at this point I'm probably weighing about sub 50 kilograms. I was 13 at the time, so when you're 13 you're not expected to be a tank, which I mean, I'm sure there's some genetic freaks out there who are absolute tanks at 13. Me, I am not one of them, so that makes it more relatable, I guess. But yeah, absolutely no muscle on me. Literally I've never touched a weight at this point in my life, just playing football and on my bike all day pretty much. So I'm lean. I say lean, I've got a little muscle but also a little fat on me, so I'm just a stick basically. Next up, I think this was March. So this was about I think I was 14 at this point, maybe. Was I 14? Yeah, 14 at this point. This was like towards the start of lockdown, so at this point I'm just sort of doing like press ups in my room. Like in lockdown I was watching YouTube all the time, so I ended up coming across like 10-minute, how to get a big chest in 30 days, do these variations of press ups, and it'd be like, a bunch of diamond ones, a bunch of wide ones, just, you've probably seen the videos, but yeah, but it was a good start regardless. Anything is better than nothing, especially when you're starting out. But yeah, you can see I've got abs, or at least an outline of them, because I am pretty lean from just walking everywhere and stuff, being, 14, obviously I don't have a car at that age. I'm in school playing football, I'm, running around all the time. And then next up here, we've got another one from lockdown. At this point, my dad he still has some kettlebells, and I was just doing curls with the kettlebells, like literally holding the kettlebell like that, just doing curls with it. A shocking version of curls, but you can see the rough outline of my biceps here, which is pretty nice. Obviously, I'm just on some random field. Can't remember why this was taken, but then this is towards like the middle of the lockdown. So in fact, no, I think we were just coming out of it at this point. So I think I was still 14, but I'm right at this point. I'd cleaned up my diet throughout the lockdown because I was like, right, if I want to put on muscle, I can't be eating. I didn't know much about. I knew I had to eat protein. I didn't know how much, so I didn't track anything. But I just knew there was meat. There was protein in meat, so I was just eating as much meat as I could, really. And I cut out like all the bad food in my diet. So I cut out chocolates, cut out crisps, cut out sweets, all that stuff. I kind of just cut it out at once, really. Well, I think I'd like stopped eating sweets and fizzy drinks and stuff 1 week, then stopped eating chocolate the next week, and I sort of just cut it out like over the weeks like that. And I've never really put it back in. So I don't know. I guess I found it relatively easy to cut out all the bad stuff. But yeah, as you can see, I'm like lean as anything here. I mean, there's still hardly any muscle on me, especially like there's no arm muscle and no shoulder. I don't think I've ever done any shoulder exercise at this point. But like I've got like veins in my abs, which is pretty sick, like for a 14-year-old. So what can you say? Next, but yeah, here's another picture, like same sort of thing. I'm like there's just no muscle. Like I think that's an extra small top, and like obviously I'm not filling it out, So yeah, very skinny start. About 50. Like I said, I don't know how much I was weighing, but probably less than 50 kilograms. Next, yeah, this shows even more. Like my arms are literal like I'm like a skeleton at this point. But we all start somewhere. Same again. And this is like the first sort of back picture I took. So I think what it was is when we went back to school after the lockdown. So I've been starting year 10 at this point. That was when I'd got into the gym, and I think before the lockdown I was like I was in the gym, but I was just running on the treadmill, and maybe I touched the odd chest press just for like a set and think, oh, this is too hard, I'm not gonna do it, sort of thing. But I was mainly just like running on the treadmill, just I don't know, just for the vibes. And then yeah, after that lockdown, so when we started going back to school again, I think I just started going in and just training. Like I think I found a random push pull leg split on Google or something, and just started following it. And it was probably like 5 sets of 10 deadlifts and ridiculous amounts of volume. So it won't have been very effective, but like I said, when you're new to the gym, you can pretty much do whatever you want and make progress. Like to an extent, obviously not. The better you do things, the more progress you'll make. But when you literally have never touched a weight properly, just touching a weight, you will build a bit of muscle. You know, it's just that new stimulus to the muscle. But yeah, this is like the first back picture I've ever taken. So as you can see, I've got no back, no arms, no nothing really, which is expected. Then yeah, some sick lat spread there. And I think this was taken 3 months after, so this was like the November. So at this point I'd been training back at least in the gym. I was doing like seated cable row and lat pull down, and I think I was doing some deadlifts, some barbell rows maybe. And like the comparison between those, I mean, I've put on a little bit of size there, through my lats at least I have for sure. Definitely a bit of thickness. But so yeah, that was pretty good. This is my first 100 kilo deadlift, so I've always it was like a stiff leg, and I didn't realize I was doing a stiff leg then. But I've never done that. I've never been very good at doing proper deadlifts, like where you actually have a knee bend. I've always just done like an RDL or a stiff leg, just out of, I don't know, preference. Such bit of a weird one, but yeah. The next picture we've got is right. I am back. I lost the image I was on. Yeah, next one we've got here is, I think this is in January, so this is when we've just gone I think we've just gone back into a lockdown at this point. And I don't know what I've done, but I think I was just, because I was doing so much volume through like curls and stuff, I'd like knackered my wrist, so I had like a weird wrist strap on. I don't think I did anything, but yeah, at this point, I think I was still training, but I was sort of training very weird. Like I had some like one of those adjustable dumbbells in my garage, me and my dad at that point, my dad bought all the gym equipment. I didn't have any money at that point. But yeah, I had some like stuff in my garage, like some dumbbells and stuff that I was using. So that is me at that point. Chest has somewhat grown a bit from, I guess, where I started. Next picture, and like legs. My legs have always sort of like, I remember like during the lockdown, I was doing a lot of like just bodyweight squats, and I noticed my legs were starting to grow just from that, which is kind of bit of foreshadowing to my legs being somewhat of a decent body part, quads in particular. And then after that, I think I actually stopped training actually then for a period because of that weird little injury thing I had. So like this picture here is probably like, but because I stopped training, I was still trying to eat more. Obviously, I'm now in quite much of a bigger surplus, so I just put on body fat. Which, if you ever can't train, pull your food down a little bit, because obviously your calorie expenditure is going to be less. If you're eating the same amount as when you were training, you're just going to start to ramp up, accrue the body fat at a rate which you just don't need to be at that point. You don't really need, if you're not training, you don't really need to be in a surplus at all. I'd just eat at maintenance. So yeah, this is, I mean, I've put on a bit of size, but at this point I'm just accruing body fat. I'm not like lean like I was, which is a shame. But then I eventually started training again once the gyms opened back up in like the March time. And at this point, I'd probably learned how to squat. I'd sort of like taught myself how to squat in the lockdown. So here, like my legs are actually pretty good. Like I think I'm 15 here. Yeah, like these are okay quads for a 15-year-old, you know. Then I think what have we got here? A lat spread. 15 again. Pretty sick pick. Legs again, they're just like, I think I've just got a good inserting sweep. Like the rest of my leg is naff. I've got no glutes, no hamstrings, no like inner quad or teardrop, whatever you want to call it. It's just all sweep really, which isn't a bad problem to have really. But yeah, then we've got more pics. At this point I'm like really committing to the training. Like I was pretty committed beforehand, but I was still like drinking every weekend and stuff. So at this point I've kind of cut that out somewhat. And I'm eating consistently around about 3,000 odd calories here. But at this point, I'm definitely struggling to eat that. Like my appetite hasn't adjusted from when I was very skinny, eating probably sub 2,000 calories or whatever I was eating back then. I had no idea. But yeah, putting on bits of size. Here's my first 65 kilogram bench, which was not very good because it's like turned into a hip thrust. But yeah, the guy spotted me there, Ben. Shout out Ben. Ben's a legend. He was he had the best physique I'd ever seen in person at that point. So he was like I'd seen people on video and stuff, but in person he was like, I remember seeing it. I was like, oh shit, I want to look like that. So yeah, shout out Ben. But yeah, where's the next picture? Yeah, this is pretty. At this point, I'm like putting on bits of size on my arms, but what else we got? Yeah, and then so I think going into year 11, so that summer when we finished year 10 to going into year 11, I think I was about 63 kilos or something, and I had a goal in my head. I wanted to go back in start year 11, like, and people have noticed that I put on size. So, and I remember his me like, I think I've got the tightest shirt ever. I wanted people to like notice that I put on size. So I remember I ramped up my calories to like 4,000, and I was just literally living in the gym. Like, I would just eat, train, sleep, repeat, basically. So I went from 63 kilos to starting year 11, like 70 kilos. So within that 6 week holidays, I put on like 7 kilos or something. So I put on a bit of body fat with that as well. But I remember I walked into form that first day of year 11, and my mate Alfie just said, bro, have you been bulking up? And like, I was like, I was buzzing. I was so happy with that. It was like, job done. That was literally the goal. So yeah, at this point, I have put on a bit of size because I've been training properly and eating properly and everything throughout the summer. Delts are looking somewhat decent now. Quads are starting to come on. I am putting body fat on at this point though, just because I have put on quite a lot of weight quite quickly. But the foundations are being built here, so pretty sick. Then what I did then from that point is from the start of year 11, when I was weighing about 72 kilograms, I think, to about March time, I was weighing 90. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I was weighing 90, so I put on, in that 6 to 7 month span, 18 kilos, which is way too fast. Definitely don't ever aim to gain that amount of weight. That's not necessary. I did like the body fat scans at the leisure centre, which aren't very accurate, I'd imagine, but they said that out of the 18 kilos I put on, 9 kilograms of it was muscle, 9 kilograms of it was fat, which, to be honest, that's probably somewhat pretty accurate, because I got so much stronger over that period. I went from squatting 90 kilos for 6 to like 135 kilos for 6, I think, within that 6 months. So I'd added like a solid 45 kilos to my squat, which I'm buzzing with. And I remember like my dumbbell press each week, it was just going up and up. Like, I remember just 1 week using like the 28s, then next week 32s, next week 28s, then 30s, then 32s, and 34. I literally just started going up in the dumbbells each week. It was so good. I've never progressed my strength faster than at that rate, but that's because I was just putting on so much weight so fast, which I would not recommend. But if I'll put some pictures up, you can sort of see I am putting on size, but the body fat's just coming on with it. Like, at this point, I'm just so getting so fat here. This is my first like 120 kilo squat, which pretty good squat, but I'm not going to show the second rep because I got absolutely folded by it. But yeah, that's pretty funny. And my first 140 kilo deadlift, which is, I thought this was like my max at the time, but looking back now with the speed that this moved, I could have for sure gotten more. But I wasn't using straps. I was doing over under, so I think my grip would have probably given out. But yeah, I've definitely put on size with my quads at this point, just all over. But the definition's being masked by the body fat that I've put on. Where have we got here? Yeah, and at this point as well, my appetite is in the absolute bin. I'm eating, at this point, I've upped my calories to like 5,000. And it was pretty clean. Like, I was going off maybe like a cheat meal like once or twice a week, but for the most part it was pretty clean. Like, and I remember just literally like getting nervous for every meal because I was just force feeding it, and I literally hated food. I didn't have an appetite for a solid 6 months at least. I couldn't even finish this pizza on this picture here. And I just, like, my face, I store so much fat around my face. Like, when I get lean, my face is one of the last things to sort of come in. But when I bulk up, like, my face just gets fat. Like, not first, but it's one of the first things to get for fat to get stored at. And yeah, I used to like drink shakes during class. I used to drink like shakes during class. I'd blend up oats, milk, banana, just whatever I could into the shake and just neck it down. And I'd purposely do as little steps as I could so I could put on more weight, because I literally thought the more calories that I burn, I'm just burning muscle. Why I thought that, I have no idea. I think I just used to watch like the Rich Piana. You know, if you're not eating 10 meals a day, you're not going to get big sort of videos, which not exactly accurate. But yeah, I definitely put on size. Sort of my face. But yeah, here's a back picture of my back from there. It's definitely getting thicker. Arms are definitely getting bigger. I think this was the heaviest I got. I think it was 89 kilos the morning that I took this. And oh, it's horrible to look at, but things I thought was so big at the time as well. Like, because my arm looks massive, but literally half of that is body fat, so it's not really big, you know. But I was on it. Like, I wasn't like just eating like pizzas every night. I was like, here's this picture. I'm at a house party with a tuna wrap that I've made, so I can get protein in. Like, I've always had that, like, you know, commitment to it. And then I pulled my calories down a little bit as we were sort of starting GCSEs, because I didn't want to just be force feeding throughout all my GCSEs. So I think at this point, I pulled my calories down to like 4,500. And I saw the very vague outline of like my top abs, like my top two abs, and thought my abs were pushing through. Clearly they weren't, looking back, but yeah. And then, yeah, it's, like I said, once I think I pulled like 3 kilos off at this point, so I'm probably like 86, 87 here maybe. And you can see that my face is starting to come in a little bit. It's looking a lot better. Last day, year 11, still at the tuna wraps. But yeah, I have put on size. I definitely need a bigger shirt there. And yeah, so throughout that summer, I sort of just carried on eating roughly around about that rate. I think I pulled down to like 83 kilo here. So I sort of just did a very slow cut. And then I did that same sort of scan at the leisure centre. And that told me that I'd maintained all the muscle that I built over that bulk and just lost all the fat, which is pretty sick. So I think I'm 16 here, am I? Yeah, I think I'm 16 here. Am I 16? Yeah, no, this is the last picture I took as a 16-year-old, which is pretty sick. I mean, just starting sixth form at this point. Legs look good. Like, legs look really good for a 16-year-old. But then, yeah, still a little bit on the chunkier side. But that starts to come off because I basically just keep kind of cutting. Like, at this point, you can see the vague outline of my abs. Like, I think I was 82 kilos here. And I keep just sort of pulling down. Like, my lat spread looking decent here. Yeah, it's just looking at some of these. I remember these being taken and just thinking that looks so sick, which I did look pretty good for my age, to be fair. Then here's a video of me strapping. At this point, I'm still training like commercial gyms and stuff, so I'm strapping weights to the dumbbells just to get more weight out of them, because it was. I mean, I probably could have done with better. Probably could have done with better form. Maybe use the lighter weights, but I just wanted to lift heavier. But yeah, it's getting good. The lat spread, getting some decent mass on, and yeah, carrying on. Not like it's just like I think it was just a very gradual deficit. I was kind of, I guess you could say, growing into the weight in a sense. Like, I was still dropping weight, but it didn't feel like a harsh deficit. It's because I was just biking around everywhere. Like, I was on my bike all the time, just getting to and from places, because I didn't have a car at this point. And I think the leanest I got, I think it was like 81 kilos here. So yeah, abs are somewhat starting to poke through. Arms look decent. A bit of a weird angle. And then this is the first time I like went to like a gym event sort of thing. So I went to the Gymshark lift event in Manchester, and I didn't actually pay for like the posing session with Ryan Terry. I just somehow managed to sneak my way into it and pose with Ryan Terry, which was sick because he's like, I remember being like buzzing with it then, but now he's the Mr. Olympia. Well, I think, is he the reigning champion? Yeah, I think he's the reigning Mr. Olympia of men's physique, which is pretty sick that I got to pose with him. So yeah, learned from the best in the world himself. He wasn't at the time, but later on became to be. And yeah, I also met Yemi, IFBB Pro. Fairing up? No, I'm not fairing up. I'll take that back. I'm not fairing up to an IFBB Pro at 17 years old. But I've definitely got the angle on him. Quads do look very good there. Yeah, looks sick. This is funny as well. This pic here, the guy behind my mate there in the back is One Punch Nas, who is now probably going to win the Classic Olympia this year. And at the time, I didn't know who he was really. Like, I knew Yemi because I'd seen him on Instagram. I think I might have seen Nas like once, but I remember just saying to him like, "Are you a pro?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, I didn't even ask him for like a picture or anything. If that is one regret that I have, I wish I could go back and pose with Niall then, because that'd be sick. Now he's like, you're probably going to be the Mr. Olympia this year in Classic. That would be class to look back on. But yeah, after that, as you can see, quad sweep still growing, still just maintaining calories wise. Like I was committed, but I wasn't like proper bodybuilding. I was training like consistently and progressively, and I was eating consistently. I was basically bodybuilding just without tracking everything. So I've still put on good chunk exercise because I've always trained hard, and yeah, that has just always built me a lot of muscle. Went to another one of these events, met David Lade, pretty sick. He's one of the other guys that sort of inspired me just based on like, I used to watch his transformation videos back when I was like skinny and 15. And yeah, pretty sick to meet him after all that. And yeah, another pic with One Punch Nas. This time I actually got a proper picture with him, which finally, no one knew who he was. What else we got? I met Kai Green as well that day, which is pretty sick. He was class as well, Kai. He gave me like, he had like a full-on conversation with me for like 5 minutes, which is, I can't remember exactly what I said. I think I said I want to compete one day. What's your best advice? And he was like, it was come out with me with some like mental stuff, which I probably didn't really listen to much to there. But yeah, it was great that he gave me the time of day. Didn't just take a pic and, you know, tell me to do one. But yeah, looking decent there, you know. Physique's just sort of as it was. I kind of just kept like bulking / maintaining body weight at this point. I'm sort of just hovering around like 83 for the rest of like, you know, year 13 kind of. While I was doing my A-levels and stuff. Went to the Arnolds, met Shizzy. And yeah, after I finished my A-levels at that point, I was like, right, I'm probably gonna do a cut here. So I think this was like the day I decided I wanted to start cutting. So looking okay. And as the weeks went on, I just kept getting leaner and leaner. Like, some of these shots are pretty sick. Like, this was because I had a holiday in Cyprus that I wanted to look decent for. So, this is the leanest I got. This is 72 kilos. I reckon, and this is pretty sick. Like, if I pulled like maybe another 4 to 5 kilos off this, I could have been like on stage in condition, but obviously I didn't want to compete at that point. Well, I wanted to compete, just not at that point. So yeah, it's pretty sick. What's the next pick we got? Yeah, this is like the leanest I got, like 72 kilos. And then I reversed out with that pretty well. Went to ice, picking the Blue Lagoon. Kept on pushing, sort of like bulking back up. I think I pushed back up to like over 8 kilos. Probably a bit too quickly, but I still held it relatively well. Like, what else we got here? First men's physique shot, bit of a foreshadowing there. Then, yeah, I think this was the first day I signed up. This is like one of the first pictures I sent to Reese, my own coach, when I signed up with him, which is, so yeah, I think I was about 83 kilos there. And yeah, this was at the first meetup with a few of his other clients. And I think this was the first picture of prep. So this was like 82, 83 kilos. And what else we got? Yeah. At this point, I'm pulling body weight off like a kilo each week, pretty much. I'd have to check the sheets and double check, but yeah, it's looking leaner each picture here. Yeah, I think this was maybe like 5 or 6 weeks into prep. It was a 16-week prep, so I think I had like another 10 weeks to go here. Yeah, and I'd never seen myself this lean before. Like, this is, well, sorry, no, I'd been like 72 kilos, but I've never like seen myself this lean with this much muscle. Here, met his other client Cam, who's now a posing coach. If you do need men's physique posing, definitely shout out Cam. Cam, basically, before he actually started doing posing coaching himself, he just gave me like a one-off session at a meetup, which helped so much when it came to my actual first men's physique show, because I had no clue about any of the poses before this. So this literally taught me everything basically. This like 10-minute video which I just watched on repeat for like weeks afterwards, just so I could learn everything. Then yeah, getting leaner, much leaner. And then I think this is like 4 weeks out maybe. This was like the start of the prep versus where I was at now. So I pretty much just maintained all my muscle, just got leaner, which is pretty sick. Exactly what should happen if you are dieting properly and you're not doing something wrong. If you're doing something wrong, you're probably gonna lose your muscle. I think this was 2 to 3 weeks out there or something. Maybe 3 weeks. At this point, like my face really is starting to come in. Like the face fat I had like back when I was like 16 is gone. This is like 2 weeks out, I think. Yeah, the legs are starting to get in condition at this point. This was the leanest I got. This is so sick. Like that is mega. And you can see like this is like the biggest. I was on the left. I was like 89 kilos here. On the right, I'm like 60. I think I'm 69. So I think it's like a 20 kilo difference here. But muscle wise, like it's all still there. Like I literally haven't lost any muscle between the two. Yeah, I just pulled off 20 kilos of straight fat. This is like over years, of course, but still, that is sick. Then this is like the veins in my shoulders here are mental. Like that is class. I love looking back on these prep pictures just because, you know, I'm proud of how I managed to get myself looking. This is the morning of the first show. And this first show I won, which I did not expect that at all. Like when I was getting the tanning done and everything, I was like, these guys are way bigger than me. There's not a chance I'll probably even place top 5 here. And when they were calling out the names, obviously they called 3rd and 2nd first. So they called 3rd and 2nd before they called 1st. So I was like, right, I've not made top 5 here. You know, oh well, still enjoy. And I was actually happy with that because my main goal wasn't to win. My main goal was just to bring a sick look to the stage, like to get in condition and just to, you know, get in condition without cheating on the diet and know that I actually won the prep in a sense. And then it says that I won the show, and I've never felt such, like, I've never been that happy within like a short span of time in my life. I was absolutely buzzing. So yeah, won that show. I'll put up some more stage pics here. If you want to load through. Yeah. Very sick. This is like my favourite picture. It's yeah. What's we got? See, like I won basically based on the fact that I was just leaner than everyone else. Yeah, then I went on, because I won that, I went on to the overall. Obviously the guys in the overall are in the other classes, so like the men's tall, men's short, masters, and I was a junior. Obviously I'm nowhere near as big as any of these guys, so even though I was possibly the leanest out of them, not going to call it when it comes to the amount of size they had. So yeah, still held up pretty well, I'd like to say. But yeah, after this, got prepping for another show in 4 weeks time. So this one's a bodybuilding one, so we need to get even leaner for it. So you can see I've got the trunks out for the first time. And this is like, I think this is like 3 days out and I'm literally inside out here. At this point, I'm feeling the prep. Like, I'm absolutely knackered. So it was the night before the show, I think. Then the morning of. And some stage pics here, which are pretty sick. I didn't do as well as this one. I placed 6th at this show. And I thought I was going to do better, but, you know, it is what it is. I was probably one of the leanest, if not the leanest, but size-wise, I was lacking in certain areas like my chest. Back could have been better. Had held up with nearly everyone on legs for sure, and then my posing wasn't the best either. Like I definitely got out posed, but you know, it's one thing to work on for the future. And then straight after that, I went on a lads holiday, which is pretty sick. It was pretty funny actually. Like the first day we were walking down the strip in Zante, this was, I think I got like 6 people in 15 minutes asked me what steroids I'm taking. The answer is none. I'm natural. But it was pretty sick. It was just funny because it was like one person after the next. And yeah. Yeah. I still stayed in pretty good shape throughout the whole of that. Then we sort of like the next, because I won that first show, and then the next bodybuilding show I did was a naturals one only. So because I placed at both of them, I qualified for both the natural finals and the main finals. And I did both of those in men's physique, but because there was a bit of a gap in between those, like the second show was in end of July, sorry. The next show I had was in end of September, so I had like a 2-month gap. So we sort of went up a bit in body weight, then back down. So I think I went back up to like 71 kilos, and then pulled back down to like 68. But I was eating so much food in between. On my training days, went up to like 4,500 calories, which like I think it was like 770 grams of carb or something. So yeah, still held the condition pretty well. Switched jobs in that time as well, so the whole change of, I was like sending like check-in pictures to my coach, like in like random hotels and stuff that I was getting sent to, which is pretty, locked in. It's like 3 days out from the natural finals, in condition again, face is still in. And yeah, some stage shots there. Placed 4th at that one, which I was pretty happy with, considering I was the youngest one there. And it's like the UK natural finals. Sorry, not UK, it's global. So there was some German guys there who sort of swept up, but what else we got? Yeah, and then we got the main British finals, which was like 3 weeks after, which I didn't place at that one, but obviously that one is untested, so a lot of the guys I was against were on gear, and I held up pretty well. So, well, I say pretty well. I didn't place, so I didn't really hold up that well, but yeah, happy with how I looked regardless. Then after that, I've sort of just reversed out and lean bulked, I guess. I'm now currently weighing 76 kilos, but on most of these pictures I'm putting up here, I'm like pushing back up to like above 70 pretty much. This was from when I was 66 kilos to, I think I was about 72, 73 kilos here. So at this point, I'm sort of like, my body's reviving a bit. Like my legs definitely dropped a little bit of size throughout that prep, just from all the cardio and everything. Whereas now they've started to fill back out again. Now that got pulled down, and I'm eating more food. And yeah, I've sort of just lean bulked my way back up, it's been going good. So yeah, if you've found anything, beneficial maybe or helpful from this video, drop a like, drop a comment. Morals of it are, it takes time. This is 5 years pretty much now I've been training. I've made all the mistakes. I've done the dirty bulks. I don't recommend the dirty bulks. However, I don't regret it, because I did put on that built like the foundations of the physique I have now in terms of my muscle mass. However, if I was to go back, I would have definitely done it at a slower rate, because one misconception I had back then was that I thought you could sort of like eat muscle on, which you can't. You just have to eat enough to sort of fuel your training performance, so you can train at a level, progress your training enough to pack on muscle. So yeah, like and subscribe. Hope you found this enjoyable.